Well, it's Saturday about 3:30 local time, and I managed to catch up on some of my sleep after having to change the main engine impeller in the night. I was going to leave it to the morning, but then I realised that I just had to get it done, and then I could get the motor going because we were drifting at zero speed in the dark, and it didn't seem like a good idea to let that happen for much longer. So the impeller was changed. It took me quite a time. I mean, the boat's in a lot of chaos with all the tossing around that we've had and things moving, and I had to get into the forepeak, find the spare impeller. We always have several, and get that out and then sort out. And then one of the most difficult parts of it is actually moving the main steps. The steps are pretty solid. I don't know whether you can see them here. I'm trying to show them, and they're pretty heavy. So and with the boat moving, still moving around in the waves, there's still quite a swell, something like 7-8 feet. So we're still moving quite a bit. So moving the ladder, the companionway ladder steps away from the engine compartment, and then getting the engine compartment opened up, it's almost more difficult than changing the impeller itself. Anyway, so that actually is why it took me a long time to get the thing done. I had a worry about at one point that whether maybe the impeller I was thinking of using was a used one, because there was no glycerin in there, which we use to ease the edges of the impeller to make them slide around. And so I went back into the forepeak to get another impeller with the glycerin, the little container with glycerin in it again. Anyway, then got into the engine compartment, obviously turned off the sea cart, most important. Before you do anything else, make sure the ship doesn't sink. Anyway, turn off the sea cart and then get to the impeller casing. Tiny little screws, nut heads to open up, and that's where my copper tube, oh my god, that copper tube of mine, it's only about 6 inches long, and it's been used so many times. When things are difficult to undo, I get a longer handle on them, on the wrench, on the thing that I'm trying to undo them with, and that makes it so much easier to actually move the thing, to actually undo it. So a bit of Newton's law of the lever always works. Double the length, you double the force. Simple. So anyway, so got that open. There were 3 blades missing that had come adrift on the impeller, clearly broken. Got it out without too much difficulty, and then getting the new one back in was a bit difficult, to kind of push it in with the blades twisted around the right way for it to turn clockwise when it works. It took a little bit of effort, but that was fine. I had the glycerin on to ease it, and then got the casing back, closed up the engine compartment, and then actually I opened up the sea cart, but to make sure that the water would flow, I just released the sea strainer a little bit to let the water come up to the top of it. We didn't really, lost a few drops of water. I didn't open it very much, obviously. Again, I don't want to sink the boat. So I made sure the seawater strainer was filled with water, closed it up, started up the engine, and everything's fine. We've been moving ever since. But it took, my God, I think I started off at about 3-ish in the morning, and I think I finally started the engine and got us underway about 5:30. So amazing how long it all took. But job done, all done, fine. The engine's working fine, and we were making good speed, so that was great. And I was finally able to get back to my bunk and get a bit more sleep. I then tried later in the morning, 7 o'clock, soon after 7, I woke up. I had an alarm set actually, to get on the radio, on the ham radio, to see whether I could make contact and get some weather information. But there's a contest going. The ham radio people are very keen on contests, trying to see how many people all around the world they can make contact with in a given time. And it gets all very noisy, so it was difficult to make contact, and in the end I did say hello to a few people, but I wasn't able to get any weather. So I said, well, okay, let's try again 10 o'clock tonight, as we did yesterday. I got weather then. So hopefully at 10 o'clock tonight I'll get an updated weather forecast for it'll probably be for the inshore rather than the offshore area. I'm presently now, I'm about 18 miles west-northwest of Cape Mendocino. I've adjusted my course slightly to go slightly headed into it, because that means otherwise we're bashing into the wind at the moment and we're not making much speed. So I've come off the wind a tiny bit to try to improve things, which it has, but that also takes me closer into Cape Mendocino, which I was trying to avoid doing. I think probably conditions are not that bad, so that getting a bit closer in shouldn't cause too much of a problem. The seas often get very bad around Cape Mendocino, or a little way off, and that's why I was trying to avoid it. But hopefully, okay, if we get tossed around a little bit, we can, at least make better speed. So that's the situation at the moment. It clearly rained a little bit overnight. I think people on shore were very happy to see some rain. They've not had any for ages. The decks were very wet first thing this morning. And what else? The sun is now getting up. The pressure has shot up again from 1002, 1002 hectopascals. It's shot up to 1012.